Well, ladies and gentlemen, looks like Randy Pitchford is at it again. The man behind the Borderlands franchise is no stranger to controversy, but this time he's made headlines for saying something that has gamers everywhere rolling their eyes, and I mean rolling their eyes hard. That's right. In a recent interview, Randy Pitchford decided to defend the $80 price tag, apparently, of the upcoming Borderlands title by claiming, and I quote, "Real fans will figure it out." And with that single sentence, he may have just alienated a massive chunk of whatever was left of the franchise's fan base.
I know math is hard when you're an idiot, but like if you're a broke boy, just say so.
Bruh.
So special shout out to all of you 88,400 legends that are subscribed to this channel right now, and the nearly 50% of those of you that are not subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe today. I would greatly appreciate it. So let's break this down. During a press event hyping up the next Borderlands entry, Mr. Randy himself, was asked about the steep price point, and instead of offering a compelling justification, like maybe some gameplay that happens to be revolutionary, maybe a ton of new features, or maybe the replay value is going to be upped, or perhaps the loot is going to be, whatever the case may be, instead of giving you any kind of actual justification that would compel gamers to say, wow, that looks interesting, instead, he doubled down with a very dismissive shrug, and he said real fans will figure it out. To many, that read as, if you don't want to pay $80, well, you're not a real fan. And that attitude, it reeks of corporate arrogance. This is something we see in corporate gaming all the time. This is why these people tend to put their foot in their mouths, and they end up in situations like this, where now they're going to have to explain to millions of people what the hell they meant by a stupid comment like that looked so damn corporate, so damn disconnected. You really can see that this man doesn't know what it's like to live like a regular person by saying, oh, it's just $80, you'll figure it out. That is an asshole move to do, my guy. But anyway, let's continue. In an era where players are paying $70 for half-baked live service games or buggy launches and empty open worlds, the idea of tacking on another $10 with zero transparency about what you're getting is laughable. And to treat your fan base like they're not loyal enough if they don't comply, well, that's just a PR malpractice, and it's something that is going to be well-deserved coming his way as he continues to double down and triple down on this nonsense. So this kind of thinking really highlights a growing problem in the gaming industry, which is the disconnect between corporate executive and actual gamers. Pitchford is not alone in this. We've seen executives from multiple different companies like Ubisoft, EA, Activision, and Take-Two all stumble into similar territory, believing that loyalty equals blind spending. Now, I don't blame them, because unfortunately for us, there are certain shills out there that love to push the narrative that these companies can do no wrong. Why? Well, that's because they either have access and they want to keep it, or they desperately want access and they're trying to figure out how to get it. It is really ridiculous, the mindset that these people have, and this is why these corporations are thinking, well, if the shills are doing it, everybody should do it. They forget that gaming is not just a hobby anymore. It's an expensive one, and people are more selective than ever because there's also good games out there. It's not just bad games out there. There are plenty to choose from, plenty of indie games to choose from, AA games to choose from. The AAA scene is not needed anymore, to be honest with you. There are so many great video games that are coming out with very low budgets that are handled properly, that'll give players exactly what they are looking for. Multiple different video games have come out recently proving this exact same thing.
Making running and gunning natural disaster.
So games have never been more expensive, but what's worse is how many of them are asking for more money and delivering less value. And what are gamers supposed to do? Keep paying more just to prove that they're a real fan to whatever company they're paying? It's ridiculous. So let's look at the price comparison here. The new Borderlands game is supposedly, I guess, assuming to Randy Pitchford, is going to be $80, and yet you have games like Expedition 33 with its massive open world, deep combat systems, and no microtransactions is $50. Oblivion Remastered, which was giving players hundreds of hours of content, is also priced at $50. These games respect the player's wallet and their time. They're packed with content. They feel like passion projects, not cash grabs. And Borderlands is trying to justify that extra $30 because it has guns that talk now, it sells shitty claptrap. Like, who cares, bro? If you're charging more than every other game on the market, you better be offering something revolutionary, not just more of the same with a shinier coat of paint. But let's be real, that's exactly what Gearbox has been doing for a long time when it comes to their Borderlands IP. So let's now double back and talk about Gearbox. So remember when they were at the top of the world with Borderlands 2? Remember how everybody loved that game? The game defined an era of co-op shooters. It was creative, chaotic, and full of heart. But since then, Gearbox has been fumbling the bag. Borderlands 3 was solid, but it was divisive. It felt bloated, full of bad jokes, and honestly just didn't hit the same emotional notes or gameplay notes as the previous iterations. Then came missteps like Battleborn, which we won't even talk about. That game got steamrolled by competition like Overwatch, and they've published games like Godfall, which got panned for being shallow, and their recent titles haven't exactly set the world on fire either. Pitchford, for better or worse, has become the face of the company, and unfortunately, his public persona hasn't helped either. From magician antics to USB stick scandals to now belittling fans with pricing comments who apparently can't afford it, the goodwill is running out very fast, and that's assuming he has any to actually remove any more anyway. So this controversy could spell long-term trouble for the Borderlands franchise. Fans are already skeptical after Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which by the way launched with a potential but overall was bogged down by a weird release model and post-launch content that felt kind of phoned in. It feels like fans are being taken for granted, like their loyalty is just a dollar sign. They will walk away. If anything has been shown in the last year in 2024 is that gamers have woken up to the idea and the realization that they can in fact vote with their wallet. It is a very powerful thing that people have suddenly realized they have the power for. So if you feel like people will not walk away, trust me, they will. It's been proven with multiple franchises that have decided to come out with a new sequel that have completely disrespected the players that have enjoyed the previous iterations. I'm looking at you, Dragon Age de Vilgard. You guys have decided to F around and find out, amongst other studios that have decided to F around and find out, and almost all of them have experienced either layoffs or they are closed down completely. One of the two has happened, and it doesn't matter how big the company is, it has happened. So look what happened also to Halo Infinite, for example, or even look at what happened to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. You can only get so many chances before people will in fact walk away. This isn't about entitlement, it's about trust, and right now that trust is barely hanging on by a thread, if it's even there at all, to be honest with you. I feel like Gearbox has completely thrown away any trust that they could potentially have with whatever gamers were playing their games anymore. So here's what Gearbox really honestly should do. Walk it back a little bit. Own the misstep. Randy Pitchford should come out and say something. If the game really has a value of $80, then show it. Give players a detailed look at what they're paying for. Be transparent. Be honest. The trailers that you showcase in terms of gameplay does not scream an $80 game. It looks the exact same as every other Borderlands game. There is literally very little difference going on. And yet you're going to come out with a pompous ass comment like that, trying to pretend as if somebody doesn't spend $80 in your game, well, they're not a real fan. Newsflash, most of the sales that you guys have for Borderlands were given on sales, by the way. You know, you guys tend to give away your video games on sale quite often for very, very cheap, and that is where the majority of your sales come in. So sure, you can put up a nice PR headline that says you have millions of sales for XYZ amount of copies, but we all know most of them were at $5 to $10. We all know that. So at the end of the day, you really don't have any room to talk about, oh, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to pay the $80. No, shut the hell up, bro. What are you talking about? Most importantly, why don't you stop insulting your fan base? They're not just walking wallets for you to abuse. They're the reason that your franchise even exists in the first place. If you tell them they're not real fans for being cautious with their money, then you've already lost them. The $80 price tag could have been a footnote, but now it's a headline, and that's on Randy Pitchford. That's on Gearbox. That's your fault. The hilarious thing is that there is a Twitter thread from IGN showcasing the actual article that they wrote on this situation, and it says Gearbox chief Randy Pitchford has responded to a fan who expressed concern about the prospect of paying $80 for Borderlands 4, saying if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. And as you scroll through the thread, you're going to realize very quickly the amount of responses that are there. You got Grums, you got Asmongold, you even got Mr. Philip Chan over at Project Eggroll. Everybody, it's just absolutely destroying them in the comments. It is insane because, quite frankly, everybody knows that this is such a BS thing to do. It's such a BS thing to say. Nobody wants to hear that. The $80 price point, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys are aware, there was a former PlayStation executive, Shuhei Yoshida, who commented on the new trend of $80 and said that they're a steal, apparently. for top quality games and that he doesn't think people should be complaining. When I tell you these executives are separated from reality, this is no more true than it is now. They are all joining forces together to justify their increase of $80 because they all know once one person does it, they all should be doing it, and it's free and easy money regardless of whether or not there is actually an increase or cost or not. Which, by the way, there isn't. It's all just companies that are over bloated, that are spending too much on their video games, and they are trying to find any excuse to try to garner more money whichever way they can. What these executives don't seem to understand is that, quite frankly, not every game is going to be worth $80 to the majority of people. You may all want to start at that price, but most of you are not going to end at that price. Everybody wants to pretend to be Grand Theft Auto, but the simple fact of the matter is they're not. Not every game is going to be worth that amount of money, which is why most of you will end up on the $10 bin at some point 6 months after release of your video game. This is going to continue to be an issue so long as these executives remain disconnected from reality. The simple fact that they feel like their games are a steal when they release them day one broken, buggy, with day one patches that are multiple gigs big. It is insane. They very clearly are disconnected from not only the gamers who are buying their video games, but from the developers who are making their video games, because most of them are such trash that they're out here trying to convince you $80 is worth their price point and worth their time. It's not. Most of the video games out there charging $80 are never going to be worth that amount. Quite frankly, it's just the truth, and they may try to desperately convince you that it is, but most people can see through the BS, which is why the numbers reflect exactly where they should. Gaming is always going to correct itself one way or another. You can try to charge $80, but the simple fact is, you guys know that you want to push people to subscription services, and if you have one, a higher price point of entry for a new game is only going to make that service seem more attractive. And then once somebody subscribes to that service because it's trying to spend less money compared to the retail price of most video games, then what do? You bump the price of the subscription and you get more money that way. It is a trap that they're trying to get people to go in. The simple fact is, indie NAA is where it's at right now. It's very clear that there are a lot of passionate studios out there, or passionate people, because there are some solo project people that are absolutely killing it. I'm looking at you, Schedule 1. There are projects out there that are 100% killing it that do not need the backing of a 1 to, let's just say, I don't know, 2,000 employee studio. Like, you don't need that many people working on a video game. You don't need 400 or 500 people working on a video game, especially when you are not the size of GTA. You don't need that. And yet, for some reason, all these studios have that. Is because they're trying to hold on to these activists that they've hired, that have convinced them that you need to keep them, otherwise you're bigoted and racist if you fire them. They are trying to make you pay for their mistakes. They're trying to make you pay for their bloat. They're trying to make you pay for their insane budgets. That's not your fault. That's their fault. They should manage their studios better. They should manage their payroll better. They should manage their people better. That is not the fault of the gamer to do that. And yet they're trying to pass it off to you anyway with this brand new $80 price tag and telling you that you're poor if you can't afford it. Or they're telling you you're not a real fan anyway if you don't spend the money. It genuinely is a ridiculous notion, and a lot of people are just sick and tired of hearing about it. So what does this mean overall for the situation regarding Borderlands 4? Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really think Borderlands 4 was in a good place to begin with anyway. I think Borderlands 4 has a lot to make up for after Tiny Tina Wonderland and Borderlands 3 as well. I just don't think they are worth $80. I barely even think they're worth $70, to be honest with you. I feel like it's a $50 game at best, considering that they keep giving you the same crap and not really innovating that much at all. And if they do innovate, it's the most ridiculous bare bone thing ever. But at the end of the day, you also have the EULA nonsense, by the way. That is a huge issue, where they basically are saying with their new EULA that they can have root access to your system anytime they want. It's insane, and it's something that is going to drag down Borderlands 4 more, if not the same amount, as the $80 price tag. So with all this controversy surrounding this game, I gotta be honest with you, I don't feel like Randy Pitchford really helped in the situation at all. I feel like he made it even worse, and now people are just gonna mock you, laugh at you, boycott you, even if it's slightly. You lost people simply for this comment. Every comment you make can either make someone or break someone, and that comment about you basically not being a real fan if you won't pay $80, I think it's safe to say that you broke a lot of people, and they're not going to want to support you at all. So what do you guys think? Is Borderlands worth $80 in 2025? Has Randy Pitchford finally lost touch with the community? And by finally, let's pretend like like that wasn't always the case? Or is it just another case of bad marketing blowing up in someone's face? Let me know in the comments if you're still excited, if at all, for the next Borderlands game. It's okay if you are, just let us know. Or if you moved on from titles that actually respect you as a gamer and as a customer. Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. Special shout out to the Bigot Army members for hitting that join button. I appreciate it. And if you are not a member of this channel, consider hitting that join button today to get your name in the list and join the Bigot Army. And I will see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.
It's going to be $80 now for these games because salary.